Good day, YouTube. Welcome to another episode of the 1955 Cushman Truckster. This is a ultimate pit bike build, and today is the 21st of December, 2023. This is going to be the wiring portion of this build. It's going to be very complicated. There's some things that I'm going to accomplish without a computer or PLC, just with relays and so forth, to be able to take some of these light bulbs, the LEDs that I'm installing, and make them dual and even triple function, to make them do multiple displays, multiple tasks, if you will. So it's something that I will build and test along the way, and draw and schematic along the way. I've kind of just got a rough order, kind of starting to sketch how many relays I'm going to need, and etc. But this is going to evolve. This is going to be more of an as-built than as a drawing to build this by. I know what I want. I know how to get there for the most part, but some of this is going to be a little bit experimental. Let me give you a quick overview of what we're building here. So I have some modern handlebar controls for all of the light functions. For example, it's not here yet. It'd be here in a few days, a couple days. It will be a new headlight, LED headlight, with a high beam, low beam, a driving light, which is like a halo, and then turn signals, which are left and right amber LEDs within the headlight. So there'll be no other lights around this stock front end. Okay. All of the light functions here will be controlled by here, including, and not limited to, brake lights, kill switch, emergency flashers, left and right, turn signal, headlights on and off, horn button. Okay. The wiring will drop down through that hole down underneath and come back up, and we'll land on a terminal strip on the inside of this board. Got to keep everything clean, but I want to be able to remove this somehow effectively. So I have to come up in the bed area above this floor. I left a little room, hopefully somewhere, so I can bring wiring up there. You can see I left a gap purposely in the floor to bring things up. And then we'll put them all on a terminal strip and number the wires so that they can be disconnected and reconnected should I ever need to remove this again. Obviously, we're going to paint this thing at some point, I hope, and it'll have to come off to do that. So that's the front. You can see the bulkhead, as I call the bulkhead. We have a audio system installed. A cheap one on Amazon, a motorcycle. It's just a FM, but it's got Bluetooth and an auxiliary. You can see this cord coming down to this radio in this little pouch. Pouch just actually showed up yesterday, and that is called a receiver. So the racetrack officials can talk one way to the drivers. It is mandatory, at least the tracks that I go to, that each driver have a receiver radio. They don't even allow them to race without it. It's usually attached to their helmet, and then they can hear it inside their helmet. So this is it's just a Baofeng radio that receives the receiver frequency, and I have a stereo 1/8" stereo jack plugged into this jack here that is run by the radio, an auxiliary input, if you will. So we can now hear the receiver on the speakers. It's something that may be beneficial to a team, because the driver doesn't then have to wear his helmet in the pit area to hear an announcement or something. I could provide that here. Okay, so next to it and on both sides, we have voltmeter. Okay, that one needs to be straightened up a little bit. With a USB plug and whatever the other one is. I think you can turn this on and off via that button. Okay. And then a power port, 12-volt power port. This will allow me to charge this radio from here or anything else we need to, or anybody else needs to. Switches are unassigned at this time, but that'll come into play. I've got a hole drilled for a 4 switch. I'll probably just order and put the 4 switch in on both sides. So as we go, these will be assigned. Probably I have lights that general illuminate inside the work surface. Okay, and they're located here. Very perfect light for what I had in mind there. So there's one here, there's 2 on the back, and there'll be 1 on the other side. I haven't put that one in yet. And I bought 6. I'll have to figure out once I get a chance to turn those on where the other 2 need to go, if they need to go. Might put 1 under this wood shelf if the space is long enough, etc. And other switches are going to operate things like all the exterior lighting. I really thought I'd get to wiring a couple of days ago, but so far I've drilled just under 130 holes in the steel. Yeah, it took a minute. And I have all the grommets, not almost all the grommets installed for lights. These are going to be, on the sides are going to be amber and white. So these are the blocks of light. So we got amber and white. As we enter the rear, they'll be red and white. Here's where we come into the dual use of these. I'll be able to turn on the red lights. I'll be able to turn on the white lights without the red lights, or turn them both on. The cool thing is I have what I call a wig-wag flasher, or an alternating flasher, if you will. And at this moment, it is mounted here. Has a adjustable time for both the A and B switch leg, if you will. So these lights are going to alternate flash, amber red, amber red, amber red, or on the rear is amber red, amber white on the sides, red, white on the rear. As we get to the rear, you can see just how many holes I have drilled. I have drilled and drilled and drilled. I'm tired of drilling. I'm not saying I'm done drilling, but this is what I had in mind so far. Now, on the rear is where it gets really complicated, and some of these lights may need to have 3 functions, and I need to figure out the wiring and relays to operate this array of lights in up to 3 different functions. So on the corner is red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. Okay, the red ones I also want to use as turn signals. Not only this row, but this row. I've got a center tail light / brake light. Okay, so I'd want these to be a tail light. I want this to be a tail light and a brake light. These to be tail lights or wigwag, right? And in the center, I've got 3 of them here. These 3 will be red. I think red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lights will be red. Like a tail light, it'll match this. I did not want to put a tail light like this there. because we're going to haul things back here. In fact, these are a little bit at risk for what I had in mind in the first place, but I did buy 100 of each color. So that's going to be crazy. I've got some of the relays mounted. Haven't determined how many I need yet, but it will be substantially more than that. And I've got some dust and dirt from cutting holes and so forth. So got a little cleanup to do. Nothing is hooked up yet. How this is going to work is the inverter will connect to the deep cycle battery. This battery will power the starter for the Cushman engine only. It does nothing else. That's all that it is. And this thing has a kickstart backup, which is currently the gear's broke, but I have the gear. All we gotta do is fix it. And this thing probably starts pretty easy with a Kickstarter. Never done it, but it probably does. So we probably don't even need this battery. I may take it out one day and start the vehicle with the deep cycle battery. But that is to be determined. So the inverter, it's a 1,000 watt rated, 2,000 watt surge inverter. Is going to run any of the 120 volt electrical loads that are needed, including the air compressor. This generator will simply run that battery charger to charge that battery, and that should happen before the race day begins. That battery should be 100%, and then we can shut that off and probably never start it again the rest of the day unless some substantial electrical needs are required. So pump the compressor up. There's a retractable or a wind-up type hose reel up here in the ceiling space. They're all below the level of the sheet metal. And then hooked to the inverter is also this cord reel with a light on it and a outlet on each work surface here with a USB charge port. And how this works is we'll open up this and then drop down the work surface, okay, like so, and then you have access to this. These boards right there and one that fell down go in here. Right now I just haven't put them in for accessibility issues. Okay, so in order to get the wiring done and not take up a ton of space, I've elected to buy some 18 gauge wire. These are 100 feet per roll, so this is 600 feet. This was Amazon purchase, about $27, and it came pretty quickly. I'm happy with what I have here. This is going to take a tremendous amount of time because I want to solder everything. I don't need bad connections running around in here, and I want to hide all the wiring I could possibly hide. I'll take the time to fish this stuff to hide it well. So, for example, this light here, I've already drilled 3/4 inch hole through the steel and ran the wires up through this grommet. Okay, well, now I have to get the wires out of here and get them into here where I can access them. So I still have a hole to drill here and a grommet to put in because, believe it or not, just to run this far, I wanted the wire inside. It'll pop out here and run up into here. Okay, I have the ability to drop down this tube here to get this way, and I've already drilled the hole. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Whoop. Anyway, there is a hole into here from here. So I'll have to fish that. It's going to take time, but it'll be worth it. Then I can wire up all of these. Again, you won't see the wires. And then I have to get wiring up to here, so I've got to get around this corner. And some of this is done and some of it isn't done. I'll deal with it as I get there. I have 2 lights on the back side of here. I have the hole drilled so I can get the wires into here. But then we got to get from here to here. So there'll be a little loop of wire here. So I'll get sheet metal on it, so sheet aluminum on it, so won't see it from the outside. But some of the stuff will be seen, but it will be protected. It will be good. So I have a very, very long journey ahead of me wiring this, and I'm not going to bore you with more of the just the wiring. I'm going to try to show the details and my control scheme when I get there. So for a quick example, you can call the amber and white lights like an A and a B switch leg. These all have to be wired, at least the positives have to be wired separately. Okay, remember, I need to be able to wigwag them, turn them on, and in the back I also want them to be turn signals and or tail lights. So they're gonna have 2 or 3 functions, so I have to wire them that way. For example, the red wires, the red lights back here, every other one, all have to be wired together and a home run back. Those and these will wire together because they need to work together. Dual function, they'll be turn signals, they'll be wigwagged, but those need to be wired and then in their own home run. Okay, these need to be wired, the amber ones. This is going to be red back here, by the way, too, but it'll be wired as an amber, white, amber, white. But this is red because it's the rear of the vehicle, and you need the red light there, the red light there. So as these are wig-wagging, this will be all amber, white, a red one, and then red across the back. So you see the concept. You see I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of things to keep straight. And for now, I'm just going to cut a piece of masking tape and write the information down and keep my notes good to go. So wiring to the rear is going to be, I need brake light, I need tail light, I need the white switch leg, I need the left and right turn signal wire. So that's plus a ground. So that's 6 wires coming to the rear. Okay, some of those, like the white, I'll use here and here. The white light switch leg wires to those. So I also need to hook up a bunch of these and see what the current draw is and make sure the wire will handle it. It's 18 gauge. So if I'm in the 5 amp range or something, that'll be good. The wig-wag flasher is good for 5 amps. Other than that, everything else is relay controlled, and they're 30 or 40 amp relays, so no worries there. All right, I have a very, very long way to go. I will stop every day or two and show you my progress. We're going to keep going with this thing, hopefully without much interruption. Holidays are coming up, but hopefully without too much interruption, because a lot of this is just going to be in my head. So there's roughly 130 lights to connect currently, and if I find a place to put some more, we'll put some more in. But wish me luck. Here we go. All right, guys, it is the next day, and again, wiring is going to be very slow with this. It's a whole lot of fishing through all of the tube and so forth. In fact, I actually ordered another set of 600 feet of wire, 100 feet per color there. Today it'll be here Thursday. Today is, what is today? Friday. So, yeah, I'm going to run out. So here's what I have done. In the rear, I have all of this pulled, and I've pulled it out so that I can solder the lights on. So I'll probably shorten up the pigtail on the lights and solder them on. So try to be logical with wire colors and so forth. So the white is the white light, red is the red light. Okay, greens are ground. That's the way all the green wires will be ground wires. All the ground wires will be green. Okay. This is my stop and tail. So these are home runs. So this is the brake light. This is the tail light in a black. Okay. Pulled out of that hole. And then the brake light, which is here, goes right over there. We'll solder everything in, tuck the wires in. I've shortened things up as much as we can. So you can see I've got quite a mess. I've tie wrapped everything together so nothing gets sucked in and pulled out. So let me show you my routing. Okay, so we're up on top. You can see I've drilled holes in here and here, grommeted the holes, pulled everything through. So we have this going on. All of my, here's what's going into here. Tail light, brake light, left turn, right turn, and ground. So there's a lot going on in this row. And then in here, okay, on this backside, remember we got the lights going on? So we've got a hole drilled in the center, and then we have this loop right here, okay? And so I've got a home run for power to this loop right here. I've got just some white tape on it. This should maintain a pretty good loop, shouldn't be a problem, okay, as the door opens and closes, right? I pulled some stuff up here that I'm going to splice. So that's my left turn on the upper bar. This is my right turn on the upper bar. We can splice the grounds all together. So we'll end up with parallel ground wires. Nothing wrong with that. They'll share the load. Excuse me, just got back from lunch. This is a fish wire. I just finished drilling a hole through this light hole. You won't be able to see it. Into here, okay? And then fishing, this is what takes all the time. Fishing from up there down here and grabbing my fish wire out so that I can then tie the wires on and pull them down and out through. There's a hole in here, there's a hole in here, and then there's a hole here, obviously where the light goes. And I'm finding I have this little set of picks work the best for getting a hold of and pulling this stuff out. But let me tell you, it takes a while. But I guess anything worth doing is worth doing well. Let me show you what we're into for getting these things pulled. This is my batch of wires that's pulling into here. And here's what we've got. We've got left turn, which we're going to splice up there. Okay. We have right turn. And then we have tail on the center 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 will be tail light. Okay. I didn't want to put a surface mounted tail light brake light here because we're going to strap gas cans and things, and these are already sticking out a little bit. For hopefully I might have to put a guard or something on them temporarily if we ever have to do that. So anyway, I just didn't want to put one of those on there like we did up there. So there's no brake light at this location. So we have a tail, left turn, right turn. Plus we have every other one of these is a white light, right, for and then a ground, right? So if I don't have 5 wires, I don't got enough, right? So there they are, common ground to everything. And I've got my fish wire. All right, let's try to get them pulled in, shall we? One-handed. Yeah, this is going to be a riot. It's going to be a riot. Okay, now then. This is really going to be a riot. Let me get you to stand. Okay. This is by Braille method with my little pick to get those wires pulled through. So I got my big wire in. I got a really long loop. Alright, here they are. Welcome to the bottom rail. Wires. Wires. What a mess. Come on now. Come on now. Okay. And now we got to we have to establish which one of my small red wires is going to be the right turn. Because right now they're a loop. They are connected. I only have one roll of red wire. I wasn't really thinking all the way through. I should have ordered 2 off the bat, which would get me 2 rolls. But, you know, I figured I was just going to get into this and figure it out as I go. Because it's fairly complicated. And I didn't want to think too hard about it, I guess. Okay. So, again, the 2 red wires are connected. I need to establish one of them as my right turn. So let's just pick one. And we'll go with it like that. Multiple ways this can be done. If you're a good fisher person. Dang, I had it. Yeah, it's just that fussy. And then I put an unwanted bend in my wire and it disappeared from view. Okay. I can tell you this isn't the one I want to take because it's not the one that's still on the spool. I want to take this one. Okay. And we're going to leave it looped through this hole the whole time. Okay. Now then, I can take this wire that I just used to push this down and bring it from all the way over here. Okay. So we'll straighten this up best we can. And we'll shove it on down. We're going to have to help it along the way. These little picks do the job. I do have orange tape on the end of it so I can spot it. Boy, I thought I had it hooked twice there. Alright, I'm going to come back a hole. I got too much going on in there and... You pig, come on. It's gonna take some time. Caught it. Caught it. Always got to be sure which one. It's going to be this one. I want to take the one that I left on the spool because I had to cut this because I don't have two spools. Okay, so it's this one here. Okay. This would be like YouTube's longest video if I actually videoed the entire process. Between that and losing my tools here. Okay. So this is going to be my right turn, so I don't need it poking out any of these holes except for the one. We're going to pull this through like that. That'll hold itself. And come out the right side. Okay. So you have to stop every once in a while and remind yourself what all these holes are, which switch legs are going to be. Start off red, white, red, white. So we've got it here, but it's going to need to be here, and then here, and then here, and then here. The middle 5 are taillight. They don't connect to that red wire, right? They connect to a different wire. And then the whites all get the white wire, white switch leg, if you will. So this takes forever. It's a labor of love. We will succeed. Let me continue for the next few days, and we'll get all of these pigtailed out like that. And then we'll start the long process of soldering all of the sockets in. Oh, yes. The things we get ourselves into. Long way to go. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, guys, it is 6 o'clock in the evening, and this is really all I got done today. I worked on it pretty hard. I mean, had very few distractions, but this is all I got done. Can't believe how long it takes to fish all of this and get it right. But it's progress. Hey, it's 130-ish lights, so I get this lower side done tomorrow, and we'll get a run at the right side, I guess, tomorrow. I did put the fire extinguishers on. They showed up via Amazon yesterday, one on each side. These are nice and compact and work well. So, yep, got a long ways to go in a short time to get there. These are all my home runs. I did get those sorted. They'll be coming from relays, etc. So, but I am taking my time, making sure everything's well labeled, everything is thought out, because I don't want to miss anything. I did have to get a hole drilled through here into here. Can't remember if I told you already, but anyway, I got that hole drilled so I could get wires routed through. So those are all tie wrapped off. I just finished these. My wife's probably wondering why I'm not home to take her to dinner. We go to dinner every day at 6 o'clock, and it's about 10 after. That's okay. Be all good to go. All right. It was a long day. It'll be a long one tomorrow. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, so this is an update. So we're nearing the end of this video. Had to get some more wire. So once I'm done wiring, depending on how much is left, I have purchased 1,200 feet of wire to wire this. I've gone through, these are 100-foot spools. I've gone through a spool of green. I've gone through a spool of white. The yellow is getting down there. And yeah, I actually ran out of green, and before the next order of wire arrived, I went ahead and used blue for my grounds on this side. So we have all these fished, and it really takes time because, you know, I've glued all these rubber grommets in, and I'm using these picks. So I push wire down, and, you know, I have to spot them with a light or whatever, and then drag them out of the holes and make my loops so I can splice everything. I'm still going to go through like I did on the other side and the rear, and put a tie wrap on it. It just keeps them together so they don't ever pull apart. Gives them a little physical strength. So you can see it has been a lot of work, but I have all of these wired now. All of my home runs, but I have everything, you know, labeled. Whoops, I dropped that. So the black wires are the dome lights. So there's a dome light here. Can you see it? Yeah. There's one over there, right up there, and then there's two in the rear. Okay. I may put one underneath that wood shelf to light this up. Might do that. Okay, it's going to come over to a toggle switch. At the time, I'd only bought 6 toggle switches. I think I'm going to need all of that. So I went ahead and drilled the 4th hole in both sides and ordered more switches. They are here. I only had bought 10 relays. I think I'm going to need 12 or so. So I bought another 10. So I got to get those mounted. Yeah, so on the rear, these are all pulled. This center section is for it's a taillight brake light. So we have a taillight circuit, we have a brake light circuit, and a ground for it. I'm gonna, yeah, and you know, this light mounts here and here, so this is the hole for the wiring to go through right there. I've had it mounted, it looks good. This will cover with white aluminum, and then this space up here, I'm going to cut a piece of aluminum diamond plate. I wanted to break this up a little bit, and I had the idea, and I've got some, you know, shiny polished aluminum diamond plate for that area here, that arch. So that's going to look good. I may pop a couple vents in it. I don't know why I want to do that. I want to do that. So we'll see how that goes. So a lot of wiring, guys. A lot of wiring. A long way to go. So I don't know if you noticed, I got the new headlight bucket. It's a big monster, 7-inch. And then I got the headlight just came a couple of days ago. Pretty fancy. It's got turn signals built in. Daytime running light, low beam, high beam. It's got a lot going on. So it's got a pretty sizable connector. So, and that will fit in here. So got a lot of wiring to bring from here down under the vehicle and up on the back side. I'm going to set a terminal strip to land the wires on so they can be disconnected. There'll be wires will just be numbered, but they can be disconnected and this thing removed for whatever reason. So, all right, guys, that's going to conclude this portion of the video. We'll continue in the wiring world, or we're going to get all of this done like I just said, and we're going to start putting lights in. So I'll give you updates. I've got loops in the wiring right here for splicing purposes. I'm going to install a ground stud on each corner up here because I got wires coming through here. Okay, put a ground stud here and then tie them all together back to the battery ground. So the wires just have to come out and land on a ground stud here. All of them that are on this side, and then all of them that are on the other side, they'll be tied together with a wire, and then they'll be grounded to the battery. So and then there'll be a battery strap from the battery to the frame of this, and other straps as needed. So okay, we got a long way to go, but that was 4 or 5 days of solid little wiring. Yeah, obnoxious, but it'll be worth it in the end. That's the deal. Guys, thanks for watching. Keep in mind, we got a playlist going for this 55 Cushman. Find a playlist, and you can go back to when I first bought this and everything we've ever done with it as we continue. So appreciate that. Thumbs up on the way out. We'll catch you on the next video.